Hello, Richard from budgetguitarist.com. Today, I'm going to talk about my lead guitar tone. So I'm working on a new album, and the whole entire album is basically like 80s synth rock. But I got this one song that sounds like progressive rock. It really doesn't fit the album at all. I don't know if I'll include it. But today's Saturday, it's raining outside, and I thought I'd put down some guitar parts, maybe a synth part. And this gives me the perfect opportunity to talk about my lead guitar tone. So you might say, well, Richard from budgetguitarist.com, why do we care what you use for your lead guitar tone? Well, you might care, you might not. You might think it sounds good, you might not. I'm just sharing information. So what makes a good lead guitar tone? Well, now we got to talk about a couple of different things, right? There's tone sitting in your bedroom. There's tone like at a live gig. And then there's tone like inside of a recorded track. And those are three different objectives for a guitar sound. When I have a lead guitar sound, basically what I want it to do is I want it to sing. So that means that I want a lot of gain because I want a lot of sustain, right? I also want something that can sit in the mix and sort of take the place of like a vocal. So I want something that's a little on the thick side. I don't want it to sound thin. I don't want it to get buried in cymbal wash, you know. But the way to get that tone is not to boost the bass frequencies, because if you do that, it's going to be muddy. It's going to disappear among the bass synth, the bass guitar, the bass drum. So instead, what you want to do is crank the mid-range frequencies. So you want mids and you want highs, but you don't want it to be shrill. So first in the chain is the Scream 808, which is obviously a tube screamer clone. You can see I've got the gain not even at halfway, but I've got the level cranked up and I'm adding a little bit of treble. So I'm mostly using this to boost the signal and give it a little treble. Next is the Klon clone, the Minotaur, and I do not have this set very aggressively. I'm just using it as sort of like another gain stage. And it sort of gives it that Klon kind of thing. This one is a little more radical. Once I've hit the two pedals, I'm sending it into a compressor with a ratio of 10:1. Now, I've got kind of a slow attack on this, so the compressor's not killing the pick attack. But what this does is it just sort of, well, by compressing it with a slow attack like that, it gives you more sustain, basically. Next, we're into the Marshall. So this is the Brit Plexi Bright, which is a Marshall clone. As you can see, I've got the drive cranked up all the way, and I've got the channel volume and the master cranked up all the way. So this is some pretty extreme in terms of amp settings, extreme settings. You might also notice that I've got the mid cut and I've got the presence kind of dialed back. The reason for that is I'm getting a lot of mid boost from those two distortion pedals, so that's why. And then as a part of this, I'm using the stock built-in 4x12 Greenback speaker cabinet. Normally, I'm not a fan of the speaker cabs built into the HX Stomp, but in this case, they sounded good to me, so I left it alone. After the amp, I've got another compressor on here set to 4:1, and again, slow attack, and again, the reason for this is sustain. So I'm really trying to build like a sustain machine here. And then finally, we've got the Ganymede Reverb. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. That's why I put the key on there, Ganymede. I just don't understand why people name products something that could be like screwed up and have everybody say your product name wrong because it's open to interpretation. Come on, line 6. Like, really? Dynamic hall, dynamic plate, dynamic room, shimmer, hot springs, glitch, and then Ganymede, Ganymede. Oh, anyway, I digress. That's the signal chain. This is an Epiphone Les Paul with ProBucker pickups, which a lot of people seem to own. So it's a great choice for this channel. So my lead sound, my patch right now, the one I was talking about, it sounds like this in the room. So as you can see, it has a lot of sustain. It's also got a pretty hefty amount of echo on there. What it doesn't have is a delay patch. A lot of guys put a delay on their lead, and when they're playing those single note leads, you know, you can hear a little bit of delay. I do that sometimes, but I usually don't actually. So there you go. I hope you found this entertaining. If you did, please consider subscribing, clicking the bell for notifications, tell your friends, blah, blah, blah. And thank you very much for watching as always. And I will see you again next Friday at 5.